to keep it nice and clean, not freak out and cause a scene. I try to hold it together, keep it together, not sure who I really am, just be cute and super bland. I try to hold it together, keep it together, been playing it down, but I'm so getting tired. Now won't you meet high? 'Cause I've been feeling that crazy, and I need to lose control. So baby, put the record on, baby, put the record on, hit it. And I've been needing that crazy, and I gotta let it go. So baby, put the record on, I'm not gonna need that song, hit it. Monday came and swept away all the fun of yesterdays, but I'm gonna hold it together. This ain't forever. Need a shot and then a beat, somewhere to let off some steam. I'm not the one to say never, never say never. Been playing it down, but I'm so getting tired. Now won't you meet high? 'Cause I've been feeling that crazy, and I need to lose control. So baby, put the record on, baby, put the record on, hit it. And I've been needing that crazy, and I gotta let it go. So baby, put the record on, I'm not gonna need that song, hit it. Come with me. I'm gonna get this party lit. Come with me. Let's do something we'll regret.
Come with me. I'm gonna get this party lit. Come with me. Let's do something we'll regret.
'Cause I've been feeling that crazy, and I need to lose control. So baby, put the record on, baby, put the record on, hit it. And I've been needing that crazy, and I gotta let it go. So baby, put the record on. How much longer can you hide? You can try and push away from me. You kick and scream, you're begging, please. But once you get a little taste of freedom, you wanna get up off your knees. Come over, don't fight how you really feel. Come closer to me, I'll give you something to believe in. Come over, don't fight how you really feel. Come closer, please.
We are live. Quarter-finals are finally upon us. Don't stand here, please. Don't stand here. You can't stand. Thank you. Just clearing the space in front of us. Myself, Hannah Pendlebury, alongside Jamie Rabbits. Karen Kwok going into the deep space, out of the blocks for Mermaid Lumberjacks. But I think that's going to be caught out of bounds. Another player gets bested by the tape for the athlete line being much brighter than the actual field.
Yeah, unfortunate there, but I'm sure that the Lumberjacks will be able to put some pressure on here again.
Well, we know that the Belgian women are very talented. They've been doing well at this format. Certainly this is now the championship bracket action. Seen them a couple of times so far this season as they squeak it down that far sideline. Nice movement underneath to Harris. But a collision upfield is going to give us a moment of pause.
Yeah, interesting to see both these teams coming out of the Swiss format in 4th and 5th place. So in theory, according to the algorithm, this should give us a real competitive game. But we see the Lumberjacks already with that early turn. We'll see if they can battle to get that disc back and get this game back under control.
Well, in the previous women's division game we saw on this pitch, there were lots of deep throws that were sailing out of bounds, but so far so good at the moment. Oh, putting that one up. Lots of calls of no around from the sidelines.
Yeah, goal there for Belgium, managing to sneak it up that near sideline, just winning the open side cuts, and that is a break to start this game.
Excellent stuff, certainly the way that the Belgians want to go into this one. Of course, one of the teams tipped to do very well at a certain championship event later on this season. But how have you been feeling about the kind of the division in general here at Windmill and the scenes? Because you're not playing this event, are you, Jamie?
No, unfortunately out injured, but have managed to pick up many other responsibilities. So I have been coaching one of the teams in the division, Bristol Women, who currently in 10th position, just about missed out on the quarterfinal bracket. But yeah, a strong tournament, you know, good for development, middle of the season, just starting to ramp up at this point. But yeah, the division very competitive at this top end. We have this Mermaid Lumberjacks side who often perform well at Windmill, have made finals for sure before, and of course the Belgian women, you always expect big things out of these national teams.
Well, the thing is that this actually, the Lumberjacks are only a Windmill squad. They don't appear at any other tournament. This is the only one they actually show themselves at, as that one will sail out of bounds at Essie Inkenham. The Finn will be bringing it back in. It's a difficult one for the players out here, because at the moment they don't have much in the way of shade, so they're trying to get under the shade of our tent, but sometimes getting a little bit in our way, so we're playing a little bit of crowd control. So first pass underneath, that one might be a little bit too far. It is indeed. Trying to connect up there. Looks like Vestman, another of the Atletico players on this Lumberjack side. Yeah,
the Lumberjacks unable to connect so far with this offensive line. I think they've sent the same line out, or at least a very similar one, and so far not able to make those connections that I'm sure they have been able to do up to this point in this tournament. So hopefully be able to see them dial that in, especially from the O-line. But this Belgian D-line has taken on an aggressive option there. That is an unfortunate turn. So the Lumberjacks get a second chance to hold this second offensive point.
Yeah, things looking a little bit messy. We, as we say, expected these two games to be pretty toe-to-toe. Of course, this is the 4-5. And massive shout out to our volunteer doing some crowd control work for us. We love to see it. So another opportunity for Mermaid Lumberjacks to get themselves on the board. Vestman, nice inside there from Maya Milek. Kwok now with a catch, but catches nothing but air, just bounces off of her fingers. And now opportunity for the Belgian women. Dishing in front, nice free catch. Delafortry pops it. Oh no, that's not Delafortry, of course it's not. That's Maria Belper in the 91. So Belper pop into Castillo, who of course won herself a gold medal last weekend. Oh, hammer over the top, love to see that. Van der Velde through. Oh, that's a bit too much of a lead though for Belper.
Yeah, Belper able to scoop up a couple of passes there, but that one a stretch too far. As we see a totally free Mermaid Lumberjack in the deep space, but they're not able to find that throw to Maya Milek. It's just dishing around the back, and another miscommunication from the Lumberjacks, really struggling to get themselves into this game.
Oh, wow, I tell you what, this is becoming a very grindy point. I think the total tally record we've seen so far has been 12 turnovers and a point. Castillo there with the feisty grab. She throws one, though, into space, and it's going to sail once again out of bounds. The only thing I will mention is it's still a very still day conditions-wise, but there is a little bit of a gentle breeze caressing this show pitch today.
Yeah, the wind has definitely played a factor at some point so far in this tournament. I think both days have started very still and gone a little bit more windy as the day goes on, but so far today, not too much to worry about for teams of this caliber. Not even a thrower's wind, I wouldn't call it. Just like, as you say, a gentle caressing breeze, but it, is possible it will pick up during the game as we see yet another missed throw from the Mermaid Lumberjacks, really struggling to connect. They're going to have a serious reset after this long point to try and dial in these connections.
Well, that is what happens when you oh my goodness, well, that's what happens when you try and throw in dialed in pass against the mark of Karen Kwok. I don't think it's going to be quite bookends. That one's going to sail. Oh! Karen Kwok, you ledge. Just giving us a little bit of everything. The players on the pitch are calling it out, but I'm going to say that looked pretty good from our VAR. Let's get a replay on that one. So you can see the frame by frame. Players are playing on, and they've thrown directly into traffic, but let's have a look at that again. Absolutely beautiful from Karen Kwok, but unfortunately a squandered opportunity.
Yeah, as we see Kwok getting the disc back end, but there is a foul call from Castillo.
I suppose it's that idea of she saw that there wasn't any adjustment made by Kwok to kind of account for the fact that she was moving into the area. But I mean, Kwok was, I think, pretty much just stood there underneath that disc.
Yeah, it's one of those quite awkward ones to catch up to from Castillo coming in over the top of the head, and Kwok just had a good position and managed to get that, but it has been contested. We'll go back. The Belgians get another chance for another break. A long point to start this game.
Indeed, we continue to just trail on. There is that first point from the Belgians, which was mighty clean. Just the one turnover in that point, they popped it in. So maybe, this has got to be surely a very similar D-line. It's got some different people on it. Or maybe they're just rotating through the lines. Snag, though, straight into the hands of the defence. Cassia Pora. Now all trying to cluster around this for their first goal after many attempts of asking. Kwok, bit of a lofty one, but all good. I don't know what this. Oh, there we go, into the paws of Maya Malek, and at long last, that looks like Sanlikova with the goal, sorry, the assist even. And the first on the board after many asks.
Yeah, I think that's such an important hold to get at that point, because if they get broken again, they have to make that decision. Do we keep the O-line out? Do we have an early timeout? But now they're just get the D-line out there, let them burn off some energy that they haven't been able to expend yet so far this game. But yeah, really great heads-up D there from number 15, Sonia Comenda, to just peel off her player, notice the undercut coming, get that disc with a short field, and Mermaid Lumberjacks finally able to put that one in.
See, this is where we are going to come slightly unglued. We have several double numbers. Mermaid Lumberjacks need to do a kit reorder so they can all they can go for a full stretch, get themselves some more. But of course, we do love to see them come together at Windmill. Of course, it's always nice to play with people you normally have to defend against.
Yeah, very much so. It's you really end up playing against the same players over and over when you're on the international scene for a long time, or even domestic scene. And yeah, it can be nice sometimes to just go, you know what, I don't want to mark you at this tournament, so let's play together. And you end up with new opponents who I'm sure, you end up making new super teams, and it's a never-ending cycle of not wanting to defend people and picking them up. But that's Frisbee for you.
It certainly is. Kromhik dishing through to Harris as the Belgians make it 1/3 of the way down the pitch. Just taking the opportunities that they are being given, happy to just swing it round against what looks to be a Mermaid Lumberjacks zone. I don't dislike that, changing the rhythm up. Although when you have players like Sinica Delafortre at the back of your crew, as she takes the disc and pops it forward, certainly somebody with throwing creds for days. Van der Wijk. Now transitioning to a vertical stack as we get to the end zone. Kromhik. Oh, she thinks about that overhead. It's a high stall reset though to Delafortre, who immediately goes up line. Oh, look at that for yards. Big one over the top to the break side. Janina on the attack. Can she make the block? She does. So dominant in the air.
Oh, just about to be ready to compliment the Belgian offense on just their patience and decision making, but that one a bit ambitious. Well, maybe a good decision, just floated a bit much, and a really athletic play to get over the top of that one, get the block. So now we get to see this Mermaid Lumberjacks D-line, see if they can work it the whole way down the field for that break.
Well, if past history is anything to go by, we may see a couple more turns in this point yet. Janina, though, coming under, having gotten that sensational block. Someone who we see so often at the back of a zone, especially with Yaka. Of course, the club team she's been playing for with a little while. She's got her iconic sunglasses on, not at the beach, even though I always say it looks like she's on her way to the beach. But, of course, she was there at eBook last weekend. But Commander now with that backwards cap. Formerly of Canada women, Polish, though, by birth, if I recall correctly. And a stall out called. Commander's quite firm that she got that one off.
Yeah, just possibly. Oh, it was a stall out call, yes, as you said, but contested. So the disc will go back here on 8 seconds. Always a bit of a dangerous time on that 8-second stall count. We'll see what the Mermaid Lumberjacks come up with to get out of this reset.
Well, Jonas Statansky on the as someone tries to move our cones around. Not very helpful. But big ball going into the deep space. Chinina underneath it, and there, folks, is your break back for the Mermaid Lumberjacks.
Yeah, bookends there for Chinina. Very athletic plays at both ends of the field. That's more like it from the Mermaid Lumberjacks. But I have to say, I was impressed with the initial Belgian offense, and I won't be surprised if they tune that in, you know, dial it back a little bit. Don't need to worry with those ambitious shots, because their just regular grinding offense was very strong. So I'm sure that that's what the coach will be saying for the next time the O-line is out, which is right now.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, I say, Janina is somebody who just sits at the back of the zone. It was a really nice option, really nice idea, but just that disc sat far too long, far too high. And some adjustments clearly working out for Mermaid Lumberjacks. I say that 10 times fast, that team name. I dare you.
I won't take you up on that one. But we do see here from the Mermaid Lumberjacks a lot of the players that were on those initial O points. So it does seem as though they aren't necessarily running O-line, D-line, potentially just two lines going in different directions, or maybe even just a free-fall. You know, they're not a particularly organised team, as you say. They just come for Windmill. But yeah, we do see some of those players across as the Belgians begin their offence for this point.
Looking a little bit lost is Stef Van Eyck. There's a bit of a chat on the mark of Inkenham. There's a bit of so tell us what's happening in the sideline in front of us while we have this stoppage, Jamie.
Yeah, it's a bit of a battle going on with regards to people standing in front of our commentary booth. Obviously, you know, in 99% of your games, you can stand wherever you like around the sideline of the pitch, and then sometimes you get to the streamed game and you need to try and make a clear space as we see a turn from Belgium, and the Mermaid Lumberjacks get on the go.
Absolutely, moving it down. Inkinen throwing, trying to connect with fellow Finn. Inka Westman is a difficult person to overthrow because she's got quite the wingspan, but the Belgians get the disc back. A bit of redemption, big swing all the way across. And our still count starting to rise. But De La Fortrie with a nice one through to Harris. This is lovely movement. Shoot through. I think that pick was just before the release of Perrine de Hesp.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like every underthrow, the Mermaid Lumberjacks, someone is poaching off and coming very close. That feels like a block is coming, honestly, with this sort of pressure. But the Belgians, unfazed by it so far, still taking those options, still gaining those yards. And yeah, really clean so far. We'll see if they can continue that. They're going to have an isolated player coming out of this. Oh, as we see the disc get spiked on the check. And there we go, yeah, isolated player found as the disc goes up over Kwok. And there is the goal for Belgium. That is Esther van Wyk.
Exactly right. Esther van Wyk doing the business over a slightly risky shot. Can we say that that needed to be perfectly weighted? It was, but certainly I wouldn't risk throwing over the top of Karen Kwok like that on a regular basis, but it works, and we are level up at 2s.
Yeah, I think in normal circumstances, I would want that throw to be like a little bit floatier, a bit wider, just go around the defender. But when it's Karen Kwok, you do need to be wary that she's going to eat up the distance to chase that disc down. So in the end, that more bladey throw, absolutely perfect, just what the Belgians needed to hold that upwind offense. There is a bit of a breeze. It is picking up more. I do see flags around me picking up a little bit of a crosswind going away from our camera, as you can see on that flag behind the Belgian team. So another chance for this Mermaid Lumberjack O-line. See if they can have a nice clean hold on this one as they look to set up in a side stack.
So Commander finds Westman. There's a little bit of a slowdown on that one, but you can see how much she's been given underneath, because of course someone you really want to stop at the other end of the pitch as Benedict sneaks on to take that rye disc away on the backfield. Commander underneath. Janina started to set off her deep cut, but there's going to be a call in the stack that bring us back. And an injury call. Yeah, just a little bit of a bump there.
Yeah, just a little pick called and then the injury called. Just, yeah, a bit of contact in the middle of the field as we saw there on the replay. As the Mermaid Lumberjacks get underway again. Lots of these passes under pressure as the disc launched all the way down the pitch, but too much there.
I don't know if Olga Janina knocked the cap off her head or if it was just the sheer speed of her rundown. Maybe there's a little I don't know, maybe she throws it off with just the sheer force of a little bit of a chin up, but considering there's zero wind, there's nothing to catch the edge of that. So clearly just diamond speed down, but an opportunity here for the Belgians once more. Big one down the deep space to Marchand. Now the pack coming through. Anwar around. Nolf puts that one perhaps, nope, not too high, because there's a secondary cut in the backspace, and that's good enough. And it's a second break in the game for Belgium.
Yeah, that's a pure determination point right there from the Belgians, not giving up on any opportunity and capitalising on another mistake from the Mermaid Lumberjacks. Uncharacteristic, I might say. This Mermaid Lumberjacks roster is incredibly experienced and making errors I would not expect from them. So I'm confident that they will be able to ramp it up throughout the course of this game, but I'm glad that so far we've got a game on our hands here. You know, the early game, very competitive, lots of defensive pressure, and that's what we love to see.
Well, there's a difference, Jamie, between being uncharacteristic errors of individuals and currently characteristic errors of the team as a whole. At the moment, it's not been the cleanest start to the game. They are now finding more form. They're merging together, melding well. But, I mean, we had 10 turnovers in the second point. So at the moment, this game has been characterised by some real gritty back and forth thing. But we are cleaning it up now, as you say. That was a clean hole. That's a clean defensive block for Belgium. So let's see the counter response now from Mermaid Lumberjacks, or Lumbermaids, as Benedict was calling them from the sideline. Love to see it. Big shot going towards Kwok, but underneath it. And making enough to try and get the catch block there is Belper. She pops it to Castillo. There is the target deep if they want it, but Castillo wants to be more conservative. Don't mind it. Nadej. Looking for the round. A lot of bump on the mark from Essie Vinkinen. She's been playing a lot of her ultimate this season for Sixers up in Canada.
Okay, yeah, that's interesting. Also picking up another couple of Europeans for later this season. Well, one of them of current Bristol women and one of them ex-Bristol women. So exciting stuff for Europeans over in the North American scene.
But they perhaps bring a little bit too much touching, because there is a little bit more of an acceptance of contact in the States than there is in the rest of the world. Sometimes, not all the time, but maybe a little bit of too much bumping there on the mark. Castillo with a big ripper of a backhand. We know she likes to uncork it, but that one is going to spook. Maybe thinking too much about that back line and that sort of big goal post.
I think that was another case of just not recognising the right line. The 6-yard box, she's trying to toe that line when she actually has another 6 yards.
Well, this is just upsetting. We hate to see it. When we had the elite invite, the pitches were marked out in red on the green grass, so there were certain players that couldn't actually see the pitch lines at all, because green-red colour blindness is a real thing, folks. But we also saw a couple of players come unstuck with diagonal lines cutting through. So, yeah, maybe a bit of confusion there. But can Lumberjacks now take advantage of that error after the big shot, which, of course, would have given the Belgian women another brick in this game? Essie Inkenum, silky smooth backhand. That is an absolutely gorgeous throw, just shy of the goal line. Options starting to develop. Sideline saying, Nadia, go away. I think Nadia wants to throw a score, and she does. So that is a hold on the second attempt for Mermaid Lumberjacks. And unfortunate, I think, error for the Belgian women.
Yeah, definitely could have been 4-2. But, yeah, the Mermaid Lumberjacks will be happy they've gotten away with that one. You can see that they are looking to use that deep game. Every opportunity that someone catches a disc, they're immediately looking long, and if that option is there, they do not hesitate to take it. And that is exciting Frisbee, and when it's working, it's working. But so far, it's been a bit hit and miss for them. But one connects there. We'll see if that becomes a new pattern. But so far, as I said before, very exciting game for us, very close. See if this Belgian O-line can keep working in that efficient fashion that they have so far.
Well, as we see Melikova walking past our commentary booth in that jazzy golden hat. It's very sparkly. I do love the call from the sideline of Nadia, go away. And she's like, no, I'm just going to claim the goal and go throw an assist, yeah? But a big pull from Chinina as the Belgian women look to maintain their lead in this game. Of course, up those one break, sorry, over their opponents. They started this one out on offense. A little squeak through. And the exposure is found through the zone. De la Fortry. This is a very tight cup, if we can say that. But Belgium's happy to play through it, exploiting the fact that because you're so close together on that front set, there are opportunities elsewhere on the pitch, and there is zero wind. Oh, that's such a nice low throw from Kromheke. Peters back to Kromheke. I think the only women to have a gold in the open division over in Belgium. Makes me think of a certain Izzy from back in the day. Who would that famous Izzy be?
Izzy Burke, yeah, famous, incredible ultimate player, also GB bobsleigh athlete.
Indeed. It's unfortunate to see her not able to return to the ultimate field because of the condition, I believe, the ligature of her knee. But such a heckin' athlete. She did indeed get scouted by GB bobsleighs. We saw such a great effort to reel that one in from Esther Van Eyck. Or Van Wyk, sorry.
Yeah, and now we have an opportunity for the Mermaid Lumberjacks. They are starting in that front of their own end zone, a bit stuck, and yeah, always tough to escape from there. They do turn, and the Belgians have a nice short field in the middle. See if their structures can carry them to this goal.
Silke Delafortri with a slippery disc just snaking its way out of her hands. Sonia Comenda now with the disc. Comenda actually captaining this team. Oh my goodness, Alex Benedict doing Alex Benedict things, making high difficulty rating throws and catches look mighty easy, but a pick call. It's going to be a moment of pause. But yeah, Comenda playing and also calling all the lines, it seems, being in charge. But of course, has been a leadership figure in the women's division for such a long time now.
Yeah, I actually, speaking of doing that, I noticed that the Great Britain mixed team is doing the same. Cameron Agnew calling the lines and then maybe calling himself on. So, yeah, a big mental challenge to be doing that, but fair play to anyone who is able to do it. And so far, Comenda seems to have been playing very well in that handler space for the Lumberjacks.
Well, great defensive pressure on that one for Benedict to cope with, but she does so with aplomb and shoots one to double coverage for Chinina. Lumberjacks now finding a bit more fire in the tank. Benedict clawing away up line. Doesn't have the continuation immediately into the end zone, but a pick call. Certainly lots of vocal support from the sideline. We love to see it. And a little giggle that gets. But both the number 8s on our roster for Lumberjacks are both like Prince. They only have one name. They have no family name. They are just icons of the sport. Emily and Luna. Nice grab for Van Wyk. After a bit of a failure to launch for Mermaid Lumberjacks. Oh, that does not look good though. Julia Harris in the grass with the face of pain. Oh no. Just a real throwing herself at the ground to try and redeem. I think that's a big bump on the knee.
Bit of an awkward twist, hopefully nothing too major. Able to limp it off the field, but yeah, hopefully nothing too major. Yeah, I always hate to see it in injuries like that, but it's part of being an athlete, I guess. You do have that risk, so yeah, speedy recovery.
Well, our heart goes out to Harris. Of course, we are very close to EUC, so this is, whilst it's really lovely to be able to do fantastic things, especially on a live stream out here in Windmill, I'm sure, much like there was in the final at EBUCC last weekend, where we had an all-star studded EUC representative team coming out of the Irish nation. There was a chat before that game saying, look, you know, lots of us have very important seasons full of other opportunities to win gold medals, so keeping things clean is always the nature of it. But of course, that one just a bad misfortune for Julia Harris. So high stall here, just getting out of jail over the top of the mark. Kameke. Oh, look at that. It's an absolute bullet of a flick. And can it connect with Castillo? No, it's swiped away by the defense. Looking around for the options, and Comenda reaching forward. That one's going to sit and hang a little bit. There is the ability, and oh, Castillo flashes just in front of the disc, but does not quite stop Munier. High one, but well kept. Kuchaneva to Kwok. Kwok with one, plenty of options to choose from. 3 mermaids. swimming into that front corner. And she chooses Benedict. A little bit messy there, but it worked.
Yeah, not sure how all three of them were in front of their defenders there to the open side cone. It feels like Belgium's just caught sleeping for a moment there, but a score nonetheless for the Mermaid Lumberjacks as we continue into this game. That's another break, so getting themselves back on serve. Yeah, so I knew we'd have a good game here. I'm very glad that they're proving me right.
Yeah, it looks a little bit like it might be not the highest quality in that second point, but we have steadied the ship. That's the highest number of turnovers we've had so far in a point since then. So it's only 3, so that's okay. Yep, hopefully Harris will be all right. She's just catching some sunbathing time now on the far sideline, watching the rest of her players do the work. But I think, Jamie, if you're the Belgian women, you just need to stop shooting it deep. At the moment, the response that Mermaid Lumberjacks have when they put those discs up is just there time and time again.
Yeah, you could see a moment in that last point where the Belgian players were able to get unbelievably free under because the Mermaid Lumberjacks are so switched on to peeling off deep when they see someone go. So just the need to capitalise on that, take those unders after you've cleared space with a deep cut. And, you know, we've watched this Belgian offence able to walk it down the field, and we'll see them starting to demonstrate that once more here.
Advancing towards midfield. Well, that was quite the pickup on the ankles for Vrijbroek. Delafortre looking around for an option back. Maxson. And throws into traffic. You can see Esther van Wyk knew the door had been slammed shut. Looks to be, well, it's either Morris or Salnikova. Of course, it's nice to see Russian athletes back out on the pitches here in Windmill. We've missed them at some of our other events, but obviously, with all fair respect, there are reasons for that. Inkenham inside. Maya Milek and Karen Kwok. Good communication. The word mine yelled, and the pop pass thrown for no, that's not Commander for the score. That is Kasia Podpora.
Yeah, the Lumberjacks really finding their rhythm now. Just as I was talking about how they were good at peeling off deep, they've also been good at peeling off under, as we see a timeout called, I think, from the Belgians.
Well, as we take a timeout here, so are we in the booth. Don't go anywhere, though. The rest of this women's quarter-final action for you after these messages. So after the timeout here, we've got traditional stoppages, we've got proper half times and everything in these games here at Windmill. I'm really here for it. 5-3 the score to Mermaid Lumberjacks, opening up their lead. And all four are placed in semi-finals, which will of course happen later today, tomorrow, Sunday, light duty, meaning that most of the teams here can have a fantastic party Of course, that will be happening. So 20 to 6 local time here in Amsterdam. So we see the quarterfinals happening for these open and women's matches. So Castillo, big backhand. Is it going to be a Mermaid Lumberjack block again, or spooking for the length of the end zone? And it's just a straight drop. Heartbreak Hotel occupancy. Leanders met.
Yeah, that's just been the story of the offense for the Belgians so far. A few, well, you know, errors, especially considering the sidelines. That's another one where just having to watch out for the feet, and there's too much to think about to be able to make the catch as well, especially under pressure from this team that you know is athletic and are going to be chasing down all of those discs.
Commander to Benedict. Always to be found wearing that necky. Oh, Telefortry has a look at that one underneath, but it's going to be a deep shot to Shanina. A good counter-attack once more for Mermaid Lumberjacks, and they punch in another break. They are starting to run away with this game, and after that injury for Harris and the way that the Belgians are being denied the deep space, it's going to take quite a lot to bring this one back.
Yeah, it's always a tough situation to be in when you are getting broken multiple times in a row, but it's very valuable for the Belgians as well to be in this spot and say to themselves, right, this is an opportunity for us to prove that we can come back from this, because they will be in these situations come the European Championship next month, and they need to be able to rally, and they need to be able to stay in their own game, you know, stick to the game plan. And I'm sure that's what the coach is saying, just keep doing our game. We've been doing good stuff, as they have. It's just, you know, that last bit of focus to keep it all coming together, because so far throwing into poachers is what's been one of their issues. Another one is just those catches when the sideline's involved. So just a little bit of focus might go a long way for these Belgians. I know it's tough conditions, but I'm sure they have it in them.
Well, it's hot out here for a game of ultimate. Local time, just 20 to 2, but that one is going to escape the grasp of Kromheke. Even she can't clutch that one. Had lots of space, but the mark pressure applied by Podpora. Milek now, high one. Dishing forward. Mermaid Lumberjacks communicating about the fact that there's a poach off of Rieke Grovang. Of course, I think the brains behind this fun club team is indeed Danish. So nice to see a couple of Danes here. Grovang looking around. That one well clutched. Grinding up the line, but there's going to be Vestman with the goal, just squeaking it inbounds.
Yeah, the Mermaid Lumberjacks really just getting into the rhythm now. You can see when they were bringing that disc in from the sideline with Milek on the disc, they just have the trust in each other that they're going to be able to throw any sort of throw. If they get free on their cut, they know the throw will come, and it means you work harder for it. If you trust your thrower, you're going to work hard because you know they'll hit you if you do well. And they've just proven it a couple of times there for the goal as well. Just powers through, use that athleticism to get past the defender to that open side cone and just trust the thrower to throw it. They do, and that's a goal. And the Lumberjacks keep rolling. That is the 4th break in a row.
Well, you can see them riding the vibes there and these fetching fishy tights. We've been seeing them sashaying around the party in them as well as out here on the live stream. Hopefully, I'm hoping, Jamie, and I'm sure, for their own bodily health in the leggy area, I'm sure they have more than one pair of the fish scale leggings that they've got on, because sweating in those all day and then wearing them in the party at night is not a good idea.
Yeah, that is a good point that I would never have thought about had you not mentioned it, and now I'm cursed to, so thank you for that, Hannah.
I'm just putting the health information that everybody needs. Wearing the same pair of compression or legging or whatever it is all day long when you're sweating around, and then when you're sweating on the dance floor at the party, it can cause some issues, no matter who you are and what body you're working with. But that's a missed opportunity again. I think perhaps a foul call, maybe a bit of hand touching there. Delafortry either way having a chat.
Yeah, as we see, the huck from Silke North there, a bit wide. I mean, a good shape on it for her receiver to be able to read it, but we do see the call made on the catch. I'm not sure, from my perspective, it looked like there was much there, but, you know, there's always that, we can't see exactly what happened. Delafortry thinks that she's got fingers on it, as we see another replay here. It does look as if her hand was there first, it's just whether she was able to get it under control. And I'm sure that's what they're discussing on the pitch, and it looks like it's going to be contested.
Well, Delafortry, a very experienced player, and it's wonderful to have her back, I believe, after having her second child. Of course, all these ultimate mums showing that the status of excellent mother and world-class athlete are not ever at loggerheads.
No, absolutely. I mean, at least for us in the UK scene, LMU have been dominating the last couple of years, and many of them are, you know, recent-ish mothers who are still right at the top of the game. So really, really good to see everyone managing to, you know, continue to play at a really high level.
Well, I think it's a change, isn't it, in the attitudes towards female athletes and how they're able to when they're able to continue training, listening to their bodies, and also, you know, just real commitments in general to continuing to condition yourself with perfection. And oh my goodness, that disc was nearly perfection, just bounced off. But how did that pivot go so low?
Yeah, I'd love to see sort of creative athletic plays like that. Unfortunate to not connect, but the Belgians will be so glad as they send it right back the other way. Castillo, the intended receiver, but two Mermaid Lumberjacks on the hunt, and that's always going to be a tough ask. Castillo having a great game so far, but unable to reel that one in.
Yeah, Castillo is on decent form, but at the moment it's not clicking across the board just yet. It looks like Olga Kochenova. Actually, I take it back. That's definitely not that player. We don't have her on our roster, the number 74 for Mermaid Lumberjacks. I know her in my brain by face, but the name escapes me, so deep apologies. But another turnover. Not been fully keeping tally, but we're going to, of course, get a timeout because it's about time to pop this one in the bank. We're going to take a brief moment of pause here in the booth, but stay tuned for potentially the last point of this first half after this. Whoop, whoop. It's not the sound of the police, it's the sound of the Belgian ladies' chance as they try to get themselves G'd up to get back in this game. They've had a loss in the form of an injury, which always causes some curious things in your brain, but right now, the Belgian women definitely come off the boil in this tournament. They had great form earlier on in their results, but of course, the Swiss straw format putting them against Mermaid Lumberjacks.
Yeah, it is a tough draw. The Mermaid Lumberjacks, as you know, as this very elite Windmill team, always tough opposition to face. Be interesting to see how deep of a run they can make into this tournament. At the moment, it looks as though they're going to be able to get through this quarterfinal with those 4 breaks in a row they just had, and still possession for this one.
Well, that's absolutely fantastic defence to start us off. Belgian women working really hard in the underspace and cannot stop the massive snag. Julia Kabay over the top and an easy pop. Looks like Kochenova with the goal eventually. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and that is a 5th break in a row for the Mermaid Lumberjacks to take half-time. You know, after the first 2 or 3 points, seemed very close, but yeah, we'll take a break now for half-time.
Those who do not know their history can never relive it. The skies, the dives, the sideline smiles. Our past is held in photo albums, drinking stories. The present is a gift. And here at ULTI.TV, we want to make sure we always appreciate it, capturing the immortal moments of Ultimate from around the world and making sure everyone can enjoy them for free, forever. Because the future belongs to all of us.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
How much longer can you hide? You can try and push away from me. You kick and scream, you're begging, please. But once you get a little taste of freedom, you wanna get up off your knees. Come over, come over.
Second half here in women's quarterfinals at Windmill, and it's all coming up sour for the Belgian women's team as they bring that one into the brick. They are starting this half on offense, but they've conceded 6. Oh, well done. Yeah, 6 points on the bounce to take it from 3-2 to 8-3. Van Dijk popping around, and there's clearly been some 4C middle or maybe some 4C outie off defense from Mermaid Lumberjacks thus far in the game, because the shout of no, flick all the way coming into our booth. Trying to change up the rhythm, clearly Kromeke. Threatening that inside, just sitting in the pivot, a little stumble, then all the way around. Van Dijk pops forward. Peters. A couple of calls. Some marking violations, one can't help but feel.
Yeah, definitely did the classic disc space, put the disc between you just to sort of push them away a little bit. So I would assume that's what's been called there.
So resetting. There's no turn there from Peters. Kromeke likes the idea of that hammer over the top, but there's a little bit of a height differential there, can we say?
Yeah, Milek definitely confident to put her arms up as well to get in that position to get those blocks. You can see quite active on the force, really imposing, especially on this sideline.
Yeah, I think we saw her get maybe 3 hand blocks in the semi-final EBUCC last weekend. But clearly an athlete in high condition. Many, of course, pulling double duty. And it's a lovely shot, just linking to that offside of the stack. And at long last, it's been a little while, Jamie, but we've got a Belgian goal. I think if you're the Belgian women's team at this stage, perhaps you just say, all right, let's just play a dynamite second half. There's nothing we can do about the first section of this game. Let's just come out and do all that we can.
Yeah, I had a similar situation to this on a game I commentated yesterday with the Mooncatchers versus Austria Open, where Mooncatchers, to take the first half, scored 6 breaks in a row. And then in the second half, Austria was able to come back and go, you know what, you're not going to break us anymore. We're actually going to get a couple back ourselves. And no, it wasn't enough to win the game, but definitely made the second half more exciting. So the Belgians mixing up a bit there. We see that with the offense, they just sent 3 cutters downfield and basically said, get out the way, let our handlers do some work. And so they did. They managed to work it halfway down the field with those 4 handlers before finally engaging the cutters. And that at that moment is when we heard the Mermaid Lumberjacks transition to that flick all of the way. And then the Belgians are able to go into a more normal offense and really patient, just breaking around, looking much better from them.
Well, that is a much better outfit as they wear them in this second half. Benedict just jogging up that line, absolute bomb of a backhand. Shanina chasing it down, but that tailed out of bounds way early. Definitely not what Benedict drew up in her head.
Yeah, and I tell you what, if the Belgians are able to capitalise on this, that will be a real rallying point for them. So see what they're able to do. They are in their own corner, tough spot to get out of, as I have said, but I tell you what, this is definitely Belle Paire, someone I would want picking up, and I've cursed her by saying that as we see the turn coming and Lumberjacks ready to shoot the other way.
Yep, the commentator's curse, it comes for us all, Jamie, so don't be too sad at yourself. So we see some nice smooth moves around the back, but thrown into traffic. Nadej with the block. Castillo. We know she likes a big backhand. This time it's a cross pitch. Good communication underneath it, just making sure. Good work from Desmé. Oh, big shot to Castillo, who's miles free. I hear dismay from the sideline. I couldn't see it because of the players in front of us, but what happened there? She was so open.
Yeah, from the sounds we were hearing, must have just been an unfortunate drop. Here we go. We have a replay. Wide open. Just tries to go too early. Thinks that there's more pressure than there is. As we've mentioned, you have to expect there to be pressure from this team. They're always there. Unfortunately, Castillo goes too early on that occasion after that incredible cross-field find she threw earlier in the point.
Making their way towards centre field. Lumberjacks. Another big one out of Benedict's arm, and that one is much better weighted. Some might say perfectly weighted, and I'd agree. Olga Chinina ripped open that deep space. No one anywhere near her. And 9-4 now the score to the women in these burgundy shirts.
Yeah, the Mermaid Lumberjacks, you know, they're getting so free on these deep cuts, and they've got the throwers confident to throw them. We saw earlier in the point, it was the right decision, just a bit of a bad execution to tail it outside the pitch, but no such bad execution on this occasion. And I won't be surprised to see many more hucks out of the Mermaid Lumberjacks now they have dialed them in, because it was always going to be their game plan, and when they're on, they are so on.
Is it on like Donkey Kong?
Yeah, I mean, you could say that for sure.
We try and bring it out of you, Jamie. Be one of us. We know you're an excellent Frisbee nerd, and we're trying to shape you a little bit into one of our... We get some saucy comments every now and then.
Yeah, when there's people I know, I can be a bit more, I don't know, saucy. We'll use the word saucy. But, you know, with these two teams, I'm going to be respectful. And so far, they're both proving to be better Frisbee players than me, so I can't really say anything.
Oh, we can say all we like, Jamie, because game, respect game. Just because they're better athletes than us doesn't mean we can't see how exactly they're better athletes than we are. But a lovely block underneath from Karen Kwok. Again, Lumbermaids denying that underspace. Big shot rising. Inge Westman making that look all too easy because she's so high up in the sky. And Rika Horvang for the goal. Double-digit territory now for Lumbermaids' campaign towards that final 10-4.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen that exact Karen Kwok run through so many times at many different tournaments for many different teams, and then the immediate pickup as well, very characteristic. And then you see Westman just using that length to reach past the defender, easy snag, and dish it into the end zone for the goal. A real menace on the pitch, Westman. I had to play against her, well, not personally, but with the Bristol women coaching. Have to make a game plan around that and assign your own tool players, and even then, you know, she knows what to do. It's a really impressive athlete, great to watch.
Well, you say impressive athlete, that is the thing. Westman is a very tall unit, but she's also quite firmly built. It's not one of the kind of like, dare I say it, Jamie, one of the players who sort of sways in the breeze a little bit. But I think you and Westman could have a good go for go. I mean, you have a height advantage of her, because how tall are you exactly, Jamie?
Well, 2 meters for the Europeans out there, but 6'6" for the Brits back at home.
Yeah, so I reckon you and Westman could have a good battle. I still think maybe she'd sky you. But she got some serious ups. But at the moment, it's the Belgians who need to find that form that they did earlier on in this half. Jamaica. Nice one around, Van Wijk. Delafortri. Silky smooth flicks as always. Pick call. Jamaica is a little bit suspiciously free on the far side. Although she seems to not like that call.
Yeah, not sure what the discussion is there, but I have to say I'm surprised to see this Belgian side going back to just a standard vertical stack after the success they had with their sort of 4-handler dominator. And, you know, vertical stack, definitely a pick causer, so it's their own fault, really. They could definitely do something a bit more creative. It would be better for not causing picks, and also it's worked better for them so far.
Well, perhaps they're trying to keep it in the pocket, Jamie, and do something different. Try, much like how you change the defense to keep your opponents guessing, changing your offense also can have a similar effect. There is a big poach off in the deep space, eventually finds Kromeke behind her. Delafortri now. This is good pinning. Oh, look at that low release around the mark. Kromeke, you make me feel all of the good feelings when you throw the Frisbee. Getting a little bit lost though. Charlotte Peters around to Kromeke. Kleibroek. The big scream of no around opens up that inside channel. Of course it does. Squeezing it through. Great patience. This is where you really develop your team connections. Ahead of EUC, Delafortri up the line. Doesn't like it. Sits in that around for a while. Another no around call from the sideline. There's no continuation in the end zone. Everyone looking very still, just waiting for the handlers to put it on their backs perhaps a little bit. But I don't mind it. It's going to be tiring and hot work. There we go, double cut towards what I believe is just the open side in the end, and the goal for Shawnee Marchand.
Yeah, really good patience there from the Belgian side. You can see that the Mermaid Lumberjacks are putting a huge amount of defensive pressure on the O-line, but just patiently dumping and swinging until finally they find that weak spot. Really good stuff from Belgium.
Well, this is a much better second half of Ultimate coming out of the Belgian women's side as they look towards their pinnacle of their season in a couple of weeks' time. But they still have conceded that one break in the second half of this match to Lumberjack Mermaids, or Lumber Mermaids as we're lovingly now referring to them on the stream, because their full team name doesn't fit on our scoreboard.
Yeah, you sort of commenting there about them keeping the 4-3 strategy in the pocket. I hadn't even considered the sort of scouting connotations of this tournament. there's going to be, I'm sure a lot of people watching this game back when they realise that they've got Belgium coming up in the EUC later on.
Well, they have been featured at a couple of tournaments. We had a showcase game back in Leuven at the very beginning of the season where, unfortunately, someone decided to unplug our power for the live stream so they could charge their personal mobile device. I think we need to start locking up our power cables a little bit better, but that's on us, folks. Horvang with a big fake around. Zone, the name of the game now for the Belgians. Looks to be a flat arrowhead. Big reaching one. Oh, there's a great attempt. I tell you what, Shani Marchand is going to be only a few opportunities. She's going to best Vestman. It's Inkinen. High hammer over the top, trying to catch Milikova. But that one's a bit too far for the Valkyrian athlete.
Yeah, I want to say distracted by her own hat, because that is one distracting golden hat.
It's very sparkly and I'm here for it, almost as much as I'm here for that lovely redemption. Maxent extending the body but asking a little bit too much of Sirkanov.
Yeah, classic conservation of greatness. Can't escape it sometimes.
So a squandered break opportunity. Vestman in the deep space, surely. Yeah, just not quite. Pops it back though, and an easy goal. Travel though. Called not on Essie Inkinen's throw, but on Vestman's throw. There's a call that they took too few many steps away from the pack of defenders to throw that assist.
Yeah, although it does seem to have come forward, so perhaps it was the travel in the end zone. It seemed to me as if the Belgian team thought that it didn't really affect, so they were happy to let it go. But no, it does seem that the travel has been called, and we will check the disc back in right on the front of the end zone for the Mermaid Lumberjacks.
So the stat denied to Podbora of troubles, but that will be twinkle toes action, says Benedict for Karen Kwok. And that will be good enough. Lumbermaids bring themselves within 4 of closing out this game. Can they do that in the time remaining? We've got about 12 minutes left on the regulation clock. Jamie?
Well, average about a minute between points maybe, so it's probably doable if they decided to put the foot down, but I wouldn't be surprised to see this just trade out to, a nice 13-7 or something like that. But we'll see. Maybe there's still some excitement in store for us. I'd love to see some more layout grabs like we just saw that point, some hammers. Can never complain about that. We'll have to see what these teams are going to show us for the last 12 minutes of this game.
Well, it is great to see much higher quality women's ultimate being played in this second half. Things looked very messy towards the early stages of this game, but now it's much cleaner. As you say, we're getting some exciting bids and I think just generally all-round better choices. But clearly, Lumberjack Mermaids know what the Belgian women like to do, and they are forcing them to use other plans in their playbook. A great redemption from the backfield coming through. Rebroek. Kromeke finding Van Wijk. Silke Delafortri to the back cone. I'll tell you what, that's a really lovely, really fast, clean hold.
Yeah, they managed to just send it down the open side, so I'm not sure what happened there for the Mermaid Lumberjacks. Rare for them to just get beaten open side with all of these athletes, but the Belgians managed to make it work.
Well, they did have a little bit of luck. That pass that sailed over Esther van Wijk that kind of was cleaned up by Eva Rebroek, which, to be fair, excellent work from Eva, like coming in and just making sure. We've seen in the early stages of the game, it was more Lumberjack Mermaids who were on the form, kind of cleaning up those looser discs. So I like that for them, getting that little bit of confidence, that little bit of shine in. That's just the hold. So now, hopefully the Belgian women can use that energy, that hype off that very quick, very adventurous point, and channel it into a defensive break. What would be your key for snagging the disc off of Mermaids?
That's a very good question, because they've been looking very good after those first few points, but I believe the Belgians can put some pressure on. Castillo staying on the pitch has been a standout player for the Belgian team so far. We'll see if they're able to put enough pressure onto this Mermaid Lumberjack O-line. As we see Kwok unleash deep, there is an incredible poach, and there we go. The Belgians do get the disc back.
Well, fighting fire with fire in the early stages of this game. It was all about Lumberjack Mermaids denying the Belgian women the deep shots, and this time Kwok trying to root one it to the deep space and coming a little bit undone by that. It's a good one put up onto the air for Maria Belper. The idea, the thought is there, but the missed connection. Not sure if that was supposed to be for Nadej or if it was supposed to be Charlotte Adviel, but either way, doesn't hit either of them, and a timeout being called. Perhaps a little bit of time management within the game here, Jamie. But we're going to take a break here too. But stay tuned for the final moments of this quarter-final in the women's division after these messages.
Always on the move? You can keep up to date with ULTI.TV on all of our social media channels. Like, follow, subscribe, share us with a friend, or send us a message just to say hey. Thank you for supporting us in our mission to grow Ultimate everywhere.
We are in the final moments here of the second half. Lumberjack Mermaids, or Lumbermaids for our scoreboard, versus Belgian women. It's a deep shot. Again, trying to just chuck it and hope a little bit, it feels like right now for Lumberjack Mermaids. That's their second deep turnover of this match. But playing the underneath is going to be crucial for the Belgians. A nice lead one over the top. Great little snag there for Van der Velde. Castillo with that big backhand. She's going to have to make a bid. Oh, the play is there, but the disc is not caught. Shawnee Marchand putting it all on the line.
Yeah, we see another great cross-field backhand lead pass in the run-up to that play. A great effort there from the number 27 shirt of Marchand.
I'll tell you what, where was that throwing creativity in the early stages of this game? Mermaids are going to have to come up with a bit more creativity than just chucking it to the deep space, which seems to be what their attack is now. But those creative leading shots over to the soft side of the pitch, Jamie, we haven't had really any wind all game. So again, that creativity may be coming a little bit late for the Belgians. But certainly we now know they can threaten them, which is good for their campaign at EUC, because knowing that teams can do the flexible, creative things makes your defense work a little bit different. Oh, I love that deep around backhand break. Castillo with the pincer grab. Gonna have to throw up a spear though. Underneath it though, at long last, Shawnee Marchand is repaid for her efforts. It's not going to be enough to clinch the game, but that's much better. 7 the score for Belgium, but Lumbermaid still out in front, 11.
Yeah, as I was saying, with that sort of crossfield lead pass, we saw one early in the game thrown from Castillo, which just broke open the Mermaid Lumberjacks, and it's done so again here. So perhaps something for the Belgians to look into some more, especially playing against teams like this, because a classic thing you get from an experienced team is they will try and play some smart defense and poach off into that open side. So if you can find that creative throw to get through all the way to the break side, you're off to the races, and we see the Belgians capitalizing on that to get that break.
So there's about 5 minutes left in this game, more or less. Más o menos, as you might say. And shout out to our volunteer on the sideline, whose name is Manuela, who's been doing fantastic crowd control. We'll have to hire her for future events. Who's been doing it with such politeness but firmness, and wearing a wonderful cap, very suitable for the month of June. So the shouts from the sideline trying to support and G up the Belgian women defence as Alex Benedict turns around, little jinky cuts in the handler space. Ripping open though, another one to Chinina. We know she's good in the end zone, but she gets blocked by her own team.
Yeah, the Mermaid Lumberjacks not connecting on these deep throws so much at the moment, and I mean, to me it looks like there isn't really a call to be had there. But potentially on the second receiver. We'll have to see how this one does get resolved. But out of that timeout called by the Mermaid Lumberjacks, the Belgians have rallied, and they are loud. They want this game. They want to keep pushing, and they won't have time to complete the comeback, unfortunately. But they've shown us some really good stuff over the last few points. So hopefully they can continue to do so.
Well, I think with the players coming through, I'm not exactly sure who is in that lovely fetching pink cap. It might be Kate Madiagina. But when the time is over, it is just a... Oh, well, I'll tell you what. I think both teams have just agreed that the match is over. No, just turnover, There we go. Someone said, but this is now the last possession. Oh my goodness, Sonia Comenda flying like a salmon upstream for that block. How many dodgy, fishy references can I put in before the game's over? 0, because that's it, folks. Wrapped up here. Quarterfinals, it will be Belgian women playing for 5th, and it will be Lumberjack Mermaids into semis later on today. That time slot will be for you, Ultimate fans, because obviously we're flipping back to the mixed division next on this field. I think 15:40, if my memory is correct. However, we'll bring you that as our machines load up on the internet. It's very, very hot out here on the field, and my fan is a whirring. But Jamie Rabbits, thank you for your efforts alongside us here in the booth this fine afternoon. What are your closing thoughts on this game? It seemed like a mirror image there at the end.
Yeah, I think promising stuff there for the Belgian women. Can't complain too much about losing to a team such as the Mermaid Lumberjacks with all of the experience that they have. Things to work on for sure in the run-up to the EUC, but sparks of absolute brilliance. So we'll be interested to see how they are able to do at the EUC and how the Mermaid Lumberjacks are able to do into the rest of this tournament.
Indeed, and for their various national teams, of course, we have a pack of different nations at EUC in the women's division later on this year. But congratulations to Lumberjack Mermaids, or the Lumbermaids as they will be ever known on our live streams. I don't know if we're going to take a look at the stats from this game, perhaps. No, we're not. We don't have time. We are just going to roll ourselves straight into the mixed division. It's going to be 2 quarterfinals across our live streams in the mixed. You've got Huts, Ireland mixed, and Great Britain ellipsis. So we're going to have GB ellipsis on this stream, on this field, but we will be back for more of the action here at Windmill after this.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI.TV. ULTILeague.net.
ULTI.TV.